My name is Tuckerman. I was asked by my colleague Tom if I would be willing to come and talk to a group of tech-minded, like-minded individuals, and I'm like, yeah, of course. And me being the overthinker that I am, I instantly start thinking, well, what on earth would I choose for a topic to talk with a tech group of like-minded individuals like our company? And I go to my inbox and I open it up and I see an email from a client and I'm like, oh, yep, we're going to talk about scope creep. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, the creep of scope. Has anybody ever had that happen to them at work?
Project scope?
Project scope creep, yes. In a dev environment, right? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. For those of you that don't know what scope creep is, I'm also going to quote Wikipedia tonight because that is the place to go for definitions nowadays, outside of the Encyclopedia Britannicas that my mom still has spread across my childhood bedroom. That does date me a little bit. I am older than 27. But it's also called frequent creep, function creep, feature creep. And this one I hadn't heard before, but Wikipedia filled me in. Kitchen sink syndrome. I thought that was just like a burger you could get somewhere. But in project management, it refers to the uncontrollable growth of a project scope at any point after the project begins. So that means what? Our projects start, and then they restart, and then something changes, and then they start again. Or they start and get almost done, and then, oops, they start again. So I've seen this before in our world, and it's not something that you want to happen or you even plan for, but sometimes it just does. So what we try to do at Arakÿta to combat this scope creep is have something we call a discovery. So again, who am I and how do I know about scope creep? I've worked for Arakÿta now for almost 6 years. I've started and worn many different hats. We're a small business. There's 11 of us big. The hat I'm currently wearing is called Director of Operations. It mainly means that I'm this air traffic controller that tries to keep track of where our tech group is each day, and if something happens or something starts over here, I need to redirect and re-air traffic control them. I also still hold the hats of doing some finance work for our finance division. And because I am an avid learner, one of my favorite hats to wear is to be a trainer, which is probably how I got stuck in front of you all tonight to give you a short talk about scope creep. It is one of the things that I'm passionate about, and that's why I get so excited when I get to come and share our stories that we have happen at our office, because I work with this amazingly talented group of individuals who all have a passion for doing different things. And some of those people are passionate about development work. And we like to go in and partner with our clients, not necessarily go in and take over and just build a form and leave them high and dry. And that's where, again, we combat our we combat the scope creep with our discovery process, which is something that starts right at the beginning. So I'd like to kind of go through a few of the 5 simple steps to our discovery process with you. Not quite as exciting as the rise and fall of Toledo, right? But something that I do hope that you get a little bit of, knowledge, something that you might try a little bit differently next time you start a project in your world of tech world. So here we go anyway. The first thing that I would say to do when you meet with a client to start talking about what does it mean to build something custom for your group is to be thorough. Start with their processes. Because discoveries aren't just for networks. Has anyone in here done a network discovery before when you started working with a new client? Nope. Everybody's on the dev end. So as you set with your client, you be thorough. You listen to them. You start to really dive into how the work comes into their building, how does it flow across their desks, where does it go from there? Because if on the other end of this you're building a custom form of something that might take over the work in their life, you want to be able to know how it actually happened to begin with. So review things, be thorough, make sure that you're listening to them. The next is to ask questions, lots and lots of questions. Start with why, and I don't mean the Simon Sinek why. I mean that we get to be giant toddler-sized children that are like, why? Why? How do you do that? What's next? What are you going to do next? Where did that thing go? I don't know. Why? And you just keep getting to ask them questions. Get to know them. Get to know how it works. Listen. Repeat after me. Why? Good, you are still listening. Great, great, great. So that is the second step. So we're going to be thorough. We're going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to try to continue to get to the bottom of how things are happening in their office. So the very next thing you're going to do is you are going to document. You're going to document, document, document. I'm known around my office to be an avid note taker, sometimes too thorough. I kind of go a little high speed, verbatim sometimes when someone doesn't always want me to remember exactly what's being said in that management meeting. But I think it's really important that when you're sitting with them and you're asking them these questions, that you do a great job to document everything that's happening so that you can take it back to your team, which is something we do. We bring it back because we all have our specialties. I'm a great learner, but I've honestly never actually coded something. If I go in and say, ooh, that period looks like that's a grammatical mispunctuation, they get really mad at me when I take that out. So document everything. It really does help in the long run on the process end to build what you're trying to build. So at minimum, if you're not like a document note taker like myself, make sure you give them a file tree or something. Make a numbered outline. Do something to take all of the notes that you've gathered from all of the questions that you've asked so that you can further review it when you're done. So something you can do outside of this, maybe even something to add a little meat to the project to begin with, is maybe take that step 3, that documentation step, a bit further. Why couldn't you do process as a service? Because how many times, at least I know in my situation, as the trainer who goes out after something is custom built, and I try to show someone how to use it. You know, how is this going to affect your life? What's it going to do to your day-to-day process? It'd be really lovely to take all of that upfront discovery documentation and lay it down for them and say, I realize that this is going to change this step and this step. And if we know and they trust that we're getting all of their steps in place before we're actually building something, how much stronger will that relationship with the client be? Because you're listening. You're actively doing what they need, not just what they think they need. And you might be peeling back layers and layers, sometimes years and years of inefficiencies. Because I know that I've sat with people at their desks where there might be paper stacked this high on both sides, and they kind of look at me and say, it ain't broke. Why are we trying to fix this? You know, I've been doing it this way for years. I've never in my life lost a piece of paper. I know that I'm doing this exactly correct, but then you peel away a few of those layers and you think, but if you maybe clicked a button that might have done that stack for you, what else would that open you up to being able to do? And it gives that person a voice as well. They get to kind of sit with you, look at the process, and then at the end, when the user's trying to adopt this new push button form that they never really needed in the first place, they see a button that they might have added, that they might have had a little bit to say about, and it's not just management pushing this stuff down that we don't even need because some cool sales guy came in and bought them a nice coffee, right? It's something that we can all do together. So maybe process as a service is something that you can add into that giant scope that we're talking about. Excuse me. So yeah, keep asking questions, keep documenting, keep reviewing it, and at the end of the day, just report your heart out. Take all of this feedback back. The very last step of our discovery is to take all of this data, all of this time spent, and really write and provide a nice overview of all of the processes that the client might have come to us with first. We document how the mail comes in. Are you still receiving faxes? Are you taking time out of your day to stamp something and say it's approved? We document every single piece and part of that, and we report it out in this nice, either novel, sometimes not so much novel, approach that gives an idea to the client, their first review of what you're actually doing for them, because at the end of the day, it's not just affecting the managers, it's affecting all of those people that you sat with. So it gives that nice reproach, a nice little report out. So this also takes that report to a new level when you're, assumedly you win this bid then. Discovery being its own kind of tool, you win the bid, and now you have this beautiful layout, and how much easier would it be to build a user story if you've already documented every single part of the process, knowing that your clients already said, yep, I agree with everything that you have written there, and maybe wouldn't it be cool if, which is one of my favorite questions, let's mark out this one and that one, because it's a step that you don't need to take. Maybe this person could do this instead of that, and it gives you that kind of drawing board to really make a project that you're going to custom develop that's going to really add a lot of value and efficiency and time. Because like I said, we're solution providers. We want to not only just get out there and give them something really cool, we want to do it with a nice new flair and a nice new spin and have them adopt it right at the same time. So one of the things I don't normally do, which is why I'm up here with note cards, I'm a trainer by heart, so I usually have this beautiful presentation, and I like interaction, which is why I made you at least let me know you were awake, because what's our favorite question? Why? Nice. So I prepared a little way that I can show you all how easy it is to get started on your own discovery. Does anyone not want to play along? All right, I've got these discovery questions. And if you're not okay with saying one out loud, let me know as I walk them across the room.
Thank you.
Of course. And I'm going to hand them out until I can't hand out any more. Hand a couple back there. I think some people might luck out. I might run out. Here you go. Anyone? Anyone? And I'll read the last one unless you really want to read. Here you go. These are really hard questions. Sorry I did that to the camera. I kind of ran around the room there. But here is how you start a simple discovery with the number 2 question phase.
Why?
How?
When?
Where does that document come from? Why?
Why?
What works well in the current process?
Why?
How often is the data, paper, and info touched?
What improvements have you tried in the past?
Why?
Where are you working around the current system to have access to more usable information?
I didn't mean for you to get the longest one.
Why? Why?
Notice a theme here? So you've all just actually started your very own discovery process. So congratulations, you can now take it back to your office and do the same thing next time you have a chance to get started. Because my general rule of thumb is if you can continue to ask why, you are not done with that report. So thanks again all for playing along. Thank you all so much for having me.